Okay, good evening, everyone, here and there. This is the regular meeting of the Swanton Village Board of Trustees for Monday, March 14th, 2022. We start off our program. I'd like to have everybody rise and we'll do the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So next item, agenda review. Do we have any revisions or requests?
Would like to add personnel for executive session, please.
Personnel. Okay, anything else? If not, we have a couple of ladies here that want to talk to us about removal of the knotweed at Marble Mill Park with goats. And I'll let you introduce the ladies, Reg.
Well, we got Sarah Lund and Lindsay Wright, is it, or Witt? Right? White, okay. So I'll let you folks introduce what agencies you're from and who you're representing, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Lund. I'm the Education and Outreach Coordinator for the Missisquoi River Basin Association.
And I'm the Executive Director of the Missisquoi River Basin Association.
So go ahead and fill us in on your proposal. I already kind of brought the trustees up to speed on the, I think it was 2 meetings ago, but go ahead.
So for those of you who don't know, we're with the Missisquoi River Basin Association, and we're a nonprofit that's located within, our office is in East Berkshire, but we represent the Missisquoi watershed. And one of the big projects that we've been working on for the past 2 years now is finding out a solution for treatment of Japanese knotweed, which is a very problematic invasive species in our area. I'm sure some of you may have heard of it already. It's very harmful to our stream banks and our river systems especially, and it's really bad for erosion. So we have been working for the last 2 years on trying to create a solution for landowners on removal of Japanese knotweed. And we came across kind of a little idea that we've heard of some people trying out that's working, and it's using goats to actually mitigate eating invasive plants. There has been some progress with allowing goats to get rid of poison ivy. And we have heard of some success of the goats eating Japanese knotweed. It's not a very nutritious plant or anything, but we have heard of success stories of boxing off goats to specific knotweed plots to eat the knotweed as a way of removal. And we are aware that there is some knotweed that is at Marble Mill Park. And we were hoping that the town of Swanton would let us kind of do a little trial with goats eating the knotweed. It would not be a cost to the town. The MRBA would cover it. And I've already found a potential goat herder that would allow us to use her goats to eat the knotweed at the Marble Mill Park. It would probably be like a 1 to 2 week long, we sit the goats down and let them eat, but we would be willing to have an educational event as well as have passive education at the site to allow members of the Swan community to, first of all, understand that Japanese knotweed exists and the problem with Japanese knotweed, and also show that there might be some other methods of getting rid of it other than just pesticide treatment. And we were wondering if the town would be willing to let us move forward with that project. It would be likely during the early summer, late springish, depending on what the goat herder's availability is.
Does this alleviate the knotweed or just like cutting it?
We haven't really seen a full alleviating. It would be mostly us trying to get rid of the knotweed as much as we can, and then hopefully do native plantings over the knotweed. We so far have not had very success with just cutting methods, but we're interested in trying the goats because the goats do like get into the roots of the plant. And if we're able to, we would like to do native plantings over the area that the goats hopefully eat the knotweed.
Thank you.
Yeah, and all knotweed treatments take a number of years, even herbicide treatment. So, you know, we would do it this year and then see how it goes. And if the town is amenable, we would bring the goats back again next year. And then probably the third year would do plantings.
What size area would you shoot for?
There's sort of a contained patch of knotweed that's away from the river. That was part of what we wanted to try with the goats. Is not something that's right on the river because then we have to mitigate for their poop entering the water too. And so it's kind of up on the hill, and it's probably I don't know, maybe 100 feet by 100 feet, or at least it was last summer when I was out there.
Do we need to supply any fencing or anything of that nature?
No, it would be 100% covered by the MRBA. The town would not have to front any costs toward the project.
And how long would the goats be in that area?
It would a little bit depend on the goat herder. We have done some goat work, or sorry, sheep work with poison ivy in the past, and they got sick of eating the poison ivy. So our sheep herder came, fed them for a day, and then they stopped eating the poison ivy. So she took them home, fed them nice grass, and then brought them back. Potentially that would happen again. But we'd want them to eat down the root or eat down the shoots of the knotweed entirely. And then if it pops back up, maybe do a second visit.
So you wouldn't be leaving the animals there like overnight or multiple nights, or would you?
Probably not. When we had the sheep herder doing the poison ivy trial, she didn't want to leave her goats out there at night just in case someone messed with them.
Yeah, right.
Do you want any, I could do some coordinations with the schools for field trips, if that is amenable to you folks?
Yeah, we would love to do an educational event if you guys would want that. We do those events all the time, so it would be in our purview, and we could definitely have some things set up for them to be interested in it. We also have like a lot of knotweed information from our study this past 2 years, so we can also educate them on the importance of invasive species and stuff like that too.
So yeah, give me a far enough heads up. That way I can give the school a heads up. We can do some coordination there. Now, another question, if we treated them last year, does that harm the animals this year?
I think we'd have to ask the goat herder that question. There is some evidence that herbicide lingers. Although everything I've heard, the Roundup is, a relatively safe herbicide, but
Okay.
we definitely would want to make sure the goat herder has that information.
Okay, yeah, because obviously it doesn't work. I mean, it comes back every year.
Yeah. We have found that knotweed takes at least 3 to 5 years to have any reasonable removal strategy. Our goal is to hopefully find something that's easier for landowners to use, but we're just kind of trying different avenues and seeing where that leads us right now.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was you, Sarah, that mentioned it last year, or maybe it was Lindsay about it, and nothing, we didn't, I think probably COVID didn't allow it to transpire, but glad you folks came back, so.
Oh, we were in there clearing the brush out last year too, so
Yeah.
it'd be easier for the goats this year. So, so,
Should be,
yeah. So what do you think, gentlemen?
sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
Let's do it. You need a motion?
Motion? We can do a motion.
Yeah, you can do a motion, sure.
So,
I'll make the motion that we move ahead with the removal of the Japanese knotwood via goat. Weeds via goat.
okay.
Let's give it a try. I'll second the motion.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to move forward with the overall elimination of the knotweed by using a goat herd. We've already had the discussion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No opposition. the motion is approved, so, I guess that's the go-ahead, ladies.
Neil, can we ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Ladies, do you mind?
Gordon?
Yes, thank you. Hi, Gordon Winters. I think Chris might have answered my question, but the goats will eat down the knotweed. It won't eliminate the knotweed, obviously, for a few years. And then you said you would plant over the top of them? Did I understand that correctly?
With native plantings, Vermont plants for sure.
So would you expect at that point that the native plants take over the knotweed? Is that?
Yeah, that's the intended hope. Usually with these kind of treatments, it takes multiple years of knocking down the knotweed, and then we will be able to plant over the knotweed, and hopefully the native plant will outcompete the knotweed that tries to shoot up. The problem with knotweed is the rhizomes in the soil. So if we're able to get ahead of the sprouting with native planting, once we treat it after a couple years, we should hopefully be able to knock back the knotweed in a meaningful way.
So so there wouldn't be erosion on that bank, there'd be some sort of planting, is that the?
Yes. We would hopefully use native plantings to take care of the erosion. The erosion is mostly stipulated through the knotweed because of the shallow root system, which causes a lot of erosion when high water events happen.
Is that your thought? This is probably for the trustees, but
You became unplugged.
what? Unplug that. Is that your thought for the rest of the bank, kind of continue that planning? Because now we've lost that, we've clear cut most of that bank. Is there thoughts of maybe continuing that planting on like they're talking about?
This is below the parking lot,
Yeah.
not up behind you.
Oh, this isn't where the weed is to the left of where, gotcha.
Yeah, this is down behind, close to the,
To the right.
this side of the tennis courts, I think, right where that tree is.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not directly on the water. We're not going to try the goats there because of the mitigation of animal poop going into the river, and that's a whole nother issue. So we would start with just off of the river first and then see how it works and then work from that.
So not up the bank, by the people's bank.
By the bank.
Yeah, I don't think that wasn't we're talking about below the parking lot, right, in that area.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But is it below People's United Bank, that area? Or People's Bank? People's Trust?
I believe so. I'd have to look back at the park, but it's been a little bit since I've looked, but I believe that's the area we're talking about, yes.
Because I know the bark mulch that we put down, or the wood chippings that we put down, that helps stabilize the bank too.
Yeah, some trees, some vegetation, something in that area where we've knocked everything down would be nice.
Yeah, we tried to control what we had there, and now we get the knotweed out and then do some replanting.
Okay,
Okay.
any other questions, concerns? Thank you. Okay. We look forward to your direction. If we could help it any, let us know. And, hopefully the goats can take care of Marble Mill.
We hope so too. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, thanks for your time.
Good night.
Okay, next item on the agenda, approve and accept the minutes from our Thursday, March 3rd, 2022 meeting, as presented in the email.
I will move we approve the minutes from our March 3rd meeting. That's great.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve and accept the minutes from our Thursday, March 3rd meeting. Any discussion? No corrections? She did a good job.
Good.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion's carried unanimously. Item number 6, approve and accept the village warrants through Thursday, March 10th, 2022. What's your pleasure on the warrants?
I would make the motion to accept warrants 21 through 24. That's through March 10th.
And I'll second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to accept the warrants number 21 through 24 through March 10th. Any discussion on those? Questions? No? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Item number 7, our hydro relicensing update. Reg?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to share. I mean, there was a lot of emails going around from the attorney to us to review before they submitted to FERC and to the agencies. So I mean, it's just, at this point, it's still, client attorney privilege, but, we're still arguing the PMEs, and, we sent a study dispute resolution request for a meeting, and that'll be, like I said, in April. I think it's the 18th.
That's with A&R.
Did you read all
Yeah.
Okay, from May?
No, I'm sorry, it's Good Friday, so it'll be the 15th of
Good
April
stuff.
Okay.
for that study dispute.
I've read all that information that you sent over, and that's
He did a great
a
job.
very thorough job.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
The engineer.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, Michael Thomas, there's 3 people that we use quite a bit, and they're all, well, retired agency and experts in their field, but, and some of them are still active in their field, so, yeah, we've got a good group mobilized.
Will Governor be in on this? I mean, the first meeting anyway?
Probably not. I'm not sure if I'll see him before this meeting or schedule
Oh, we're
an
gonna see
audience
it.
afterward, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a trip to Montpelier.
Okay. Good.
Okay,
Is-
that's my only question. I'm okay.
A&R is the state of Vermont.
Agency of Natural Resources.
Correct. What, we had federal officials look at the dam too. What's their?
So FERC won't supersede what the state agencies put in for water quality rules. But if FERC sees that the agencies are acting like a mini FERC, they can intervene. So there are some cases, some of the requests being made by the agency, they do resemble that they're acting like a mini FERC. So that's what our attorneys are pushing back on them and said, hey, you can't do these things. You're acting, outside your jurisdiction. You gotta,
Yeah,
you gotta get
I
back
mean, I
in
read
line.
that whole thing too. What's the agency that, I forget the name, I just tried to find it.
SHPO?
Yeah.
SHPO was the State Historic Preservation Organization at
But the
SHPO.
people that wrote the letter, the rebuttal,
Penobscot?
yeah, Penobscot,
That's Michael Thomas.
that's Michael. Now, he's a Vermonter or?
He, no, he's from, I think it's
That's
Maine.
Maine.
Maine, yeah.
Yeah.
But he knows the rules pretty good.
Well, I know, those arguments that the Penobscot people make are so well represented and so well documented.
Yeah.
It's, if the FERC could be involved and the governor involved,
So the FERC sees the letters too.
they see the letters too,
Yeah.
because there's, of course, when I look at it, the positives are quadruple the negatives. And I don't even see any negatives. All I see is some muscle work, trying to change the picture or whatever else. The critical things are the dam, if it should fail, what would the problem be? The potential for good, the energy that it provides, well documented, well understood. Obviously, the state and the federal government is for green energy. We fought that fight and won. Our hydro is considered green. And the cost to us, which inevitably ends up with the consumer, should be minimized.
I agree.
So is there a higher court for this thing? I mean, is there,
It would be the environmental court afterwards. If we can't get a resolution for the water quality, it'd be
the
environmental
environmental
court.
court is state or federal?
State, I believe.
Wow, we're dead.
Well, we're not there yet.
Not yet.
No,
Well, again.
hopefully common sense will
I don't wanna be,
prevail.
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't wanna be a problem, but if there's anything that showing up or doing some research on my part or anything, I'd be glad to do it.
I think, so, let's
I
go
mean,
back.
I think that, one thing, the governor ought to see our dam. He ought to go up there, even take him for a walk inside.
No.
No, but I mean, yeah, but just,
I won't do
They
it, I'm
could-
not gonna put him.
you could say he's been there, done that, you know? And take a walk and look at our generators. And give them a chance to give them the pitch. These are rebuildable. They don't fall over in the wind. There's no really precious metals in these things.
Yeah.
You know, they just work.
You know who appoints the ANR members?
So the secretary is the one that's appointed, they're all hired, so I don't know how that process works.
They aren't elected. So,
No, I know that.
They're appointed.
That's the trouble. Decisions should be made by elected officials, not appointed officials. Appointed officials are for
But I think the
They
employees
have
are hired.
agendas.
I don't think the, yeah, the employees aren't elected, they're, or appointed, they're hired. The secretaries are appointed.
so. Anyway, we'll,
More to come,
keep after
yeah.
it, yeah. So,
Thank you, thank you.
So I mean, we could, yes, I agree with you, Chris, and I sit home and rock myself in the corner.
Well, I read a lot about this stuff. I understand a lot of as an engineer, I understand how to make electricity. And that's perfectly awesome.
Oh, I,
It's the freaking politics
Yeah,
that don't make any sense.
yeah.
Gordon?
I've read a lot about this through social media. Can you give a quick 30-second synopsis of what really is happening with the hydro, the problem with the hydro?
Okay, so, yeah, so basically, every 30 years, we have to go in for relicensing. But every year, in the interim of that relicensing, FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, comes up and does an inspection of our facility. So every year, so if we do maintenance, we do our inspections of our bladder, our dam, our penstocks, all of that's documented. So when FERC comes in, I want to see your engineering report, your dam safety analysis, dam break safety analysis, any maintenance that you've done, all this other stuff. So when they come in, they spend a half a day, we walk through all the paperwork, and then they go back and they take a look at everything and they say, well, I recommend you do this. I see a piece of concrete that came off, because of the last, ice thaw. You need to fix that. It's okay, we take a picture of it. And then during the summertime, when we get low flows, we'll do those repairs. We send them that. So every year that process happens. So every 30 years, when we go through a relicensing, the agencies come in and say, I want to see these things change with your operation. So we go in, we said, well, let's talk about this and see what changes you're asking us to make and why. So they'll, like they wanted to have continuous spill over the bladder, 1 to 3 inches, and then do.
That's not FERC, though.
No, that's not FERC, this is the agencies. So the agencies will come to us and say, oh, I want to see this stuff, and we tell them, well, if we go run a river, it's going to cost us millions of megawatts worth of lost energy to our customers. And we can't really say where we'll get the energy, but typically in New England, if you're going out for energy,
Purchase power.
thank you, for purchase power, typically it's natural gas. So that's not considered a renewable, it's considered a
Fossil fuel.
fossil fuel, thank you. So we wouldn't be 100% renewable anymore. So that's the debate right now. We're arguing with the agencies. There are a bunch of other dams within the state of Vermont that are going through the same relicensing.
But it's over continuous flow?
Yeah, Yes, they don't want us ponding like we do now. Our permit says that we can pond and draw down 2.5 feet. Well, historically, we've never done that. We've probably done 18 inches because it takes so much time for your pond to refill. So what you try to do is generate the electricity when people are using it. You know, early in the morning and between 4 and 7 o'clock at night. Those are the times when you should be generating electricity so we don't have to go out and purchase higher priced energy that we're utilizing what we're producing. So during those time periods, the whole rest of the day is either if we have water coming in, we'll produce, or we're staging ourselves for the evening. So early mornings and evening are typically, and that's where the ponding comes in, where we can, and our license says we can do that, but we've never done the 2.5 feet, we've done 18 inches. And usually within an 8-hour period, we can regain our pond and then draw down again. So overnight, we're refilling. So we monitor what Sheldon Springs operates, it sends to us. We operate what Enosburg sends to us.
And they want you to do now?
Continuous, you
No-
don't pond
no
anymore,
pond,
what
no
comes in
pond.
goes out.
No ponding.
Right, so now we can't manage these peaks in the morning and the after, you know, the evening time. We can't manage them anymore. So now we're subject to whatever.
And the only reason
Yeah, what's the reason?
that they're given for the flow over the bag is for aesthetics.
Aesthetics.
That's it.
That's
How many people actually sit there and watch water run over that dam? I've never seen anybody.
We had these similar discussions when we were deciding to renew the dam, to put the new dam, the new rubber dam in. And we were under the impression that this would fly right through until all the politics changed. And you have to understand, the ponding, there's a certain amount of water that has to flow down the river all the time anyway. And that our dam does that. We take advantage of making a little electricity with that water as well. But the river is not affected, I mean, the water's not stagnant below it because we're ponding.
That's exactly right.
There's enough side flow into the river that the river stays active and the water stays aerated and everything stays fine. Those studies have all been done over and over and over and everything's fine.
So we have to flow a minimum of 35 CFS, cubic feet per second, at the toe of the dam to the main outlet of the plant. So it's that one stretch that nobody can see because of the steep ledges and goes under 207. And so right there has to be 35 CFS regardless. And the way the plant's designed, if the power goes out, there's a valve that automatically opens up and that's continuous. So right now we got a minimum flow turbine in there that we can run to 35 CFS. If we have minimal water coming through down the river because it's drier, we can actually crank unit 5 up, that minimum flow, and we can run 200 CFS through there. But the permit says 35 there, 200 down at the main plant. So a combination of 235 CFS. So if we're not running the plant, we can raise the min flow up to 235 if we want to, or 300 or 400 if we wanted to, in order to keep water flowing. But at the minimum, it's got to be 35.
Another thing a lot of people don't understand is the generators, it's not the flow of the river, it's the weight of the water, it's the head. In other words, you're not turning it like you see in the old days, you're not turning a big water wheel. You got a big, heavy weight of water. Water's what, 2,400 pounds per square foot? That weight, weighting in the big pipe, going down to a manifold, which is then through a set of weir gates going to a water wheel, that pressure of that weight is what's spinning the water wheel, not how fast the water runs down the river.
So when the river is really high and the spring runoff and it's going crazy, if the tail race comes up too high, you don't generate. Because picture your boat, you're going down the lake, you're running full throttle and all of a sudden you back off. You know, your boat goes like this, and then all of a sudden all that water comes into the rear end of your boat, into the motor prop, and you hear that sound that the motor's making. That's what it does to the turbines. That water's backing up into your turbines, and then you're basically, unit 5, you gotta shut it completely down or it'll flood. So the other units, they become non-effective, basically, so they shut down. Because of that the pressure from the head pond to the tail race becomes very similar. And
It's cavities.
So if they keep you on this continuous flow, what does that mean? Or what does that do for ratepayers?
ratepayers, it could raise our rates double from where they are right now, because we'd have to go out and buy that power on the open market.
Yeah, that's,
bankrupt.
every bit of water that goes over the top of the dam is potential energy to make electricity that never came to fruition.
I'm not sure I've got a good handle on this, but I think I do from reading in the last couple of weeks. It's been a couple of weeks since I read this. But I think you're talking about $300,000-400,000 a year in lost revenue from this. I'm not positive that's accurate, and that might be, it certainly is based on cost of energy today. If we had to suddenly buy this in the future, I can't guarantee what the price would be. It'd be at least that much.
If,
It's gonna be higher than that, actually, because based on what I see happening in the world today.
yeah, there's a couple different markets. You have the long-term market, where you say we're gonna buy so much electricity from you in a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever else. And then there's the immediate market, when all of a sudden we don't have backup electricity or we don't have enough water. You've gotta go out and pay the long price for electricity for a quick shot. That's what really hurts us. And the beauty of our dam, we have 4 generators, 2 single megawatts, a 3 and a 5. The combinations of which one's the one that you run makes up our efficiency and makes us able to meet our demands and be able to generate the lion's share of our electricity in a good water year. This is the ideal situation that we have. It's perfect.
So you said other towns are going through it, what are they, is there
So,
a precedent set with what they've done?
Enosburg is going through it right now, but Enosburg is a run-a-river. Sheldon Springs, just recently went run-a-river, and that is owned by an L.
What's Run a River?
Run-a-river is no ponding, what goes in goes out.
Yeah, that's the traditional water wheel, the water going by the wheel.
So Morrisville was forced to do that too, at Green River Reservoir, and that made that powerhouse non-productive, meaning that they couldn't produce anything. So they're thinking about shutting that facility down.
And of course, all of this is in direct conflict with the state's mandate that we have renewable energy by certain dates. And this is direct conflict to that.
Yeah,
That makes no sense
makes no
whatsoever.
sense at all.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that they want us to produce less green electricity with the hydropower, and the shortage that we have from the lack of hydropower, we have to buy fossil fuel electricity to supplement that. I mean,
That's,
Well, not only, they really don't want you to buy the fossil fuel, they want you to buy somebody's solar power,
or whatever.
or
And
whatever.
if you have to go out and buy renewable energy, I can't guarantee that price is even close.
Sorry.
Sorry about that, sorry.
No, that's all right. Trying to get this recorded.
No, there's a lot of misinformation. From my standpoint, our power plant in Highgate is the village's jewel. We are so unique compared to other parts of the country. We own our own power plant, we can produce most of our own electricity, and it's green. Holy smokes. There's no better combination than what we've got here. And the state should be recognizing that and helping us with this.
Yeah, it should be. It's my opinion, of course.
Yeah.
Agreed. Thank you.
Come by anytime, we can fill you in. Interesting.
I could go on forever, but I
Yeah.
won't stop.
Actually, it's heartbreaking.
It is, I mean, we're just touching the surface on how complicated it is. I mean, there's so much, I mean, we could sit here half the day and discuss it. And the more I know about it, the more I know I don't know about it. You know, it's just so complicated to go through the relicensing process and all the other nuances that are behind it. Can tell you the importance of public power is that our shareholders are our ratepayers. So we don't sell our electricity at a huge profit. We have to maintain a certain tier that we can have money set aside for, you know, line extensions, transformers, poles, wires, that kind of stuff. So we don't have a board of directors that's dictating what we have to get.
So is this coming quickly, this decision?
No,
Haunting or no
2024 is when our license is up. So it's a 5-year process. This is one of the reasons why that we have to start early, 5 years ahead of time, because of the discussions that we have.
And of course, there are
And
costs.
it requires expensive lawyers.
Exactly, exactly my point.
Morrisville is over $1 million in every licensing.
Yeah, you gotta sell a lot of electricity to repay that $1 million.
In a 5-year period.
Yeah.
So one of the things, I mean, for your business, for example, you could turn around and tell your customers you're receiving 100% renewable energy within your store. Vermont Precision Tools can do the same thing. Any business within our service territory can go to their customers and say, we're 100% renewable, we're getting 100% renewable resources to power our business.
And it's the second cheapest.
Third
Oh,
cheapest.
third cheapest now?
Third cheapest.
You were the cheapest electric power in the state of Vermont. Now we're
Third.
down to third, so.
Yeah.
Out of 12.
12. Yeah, that's right. I think it's 12.
And California only has 2 electric companies. We have 12.
Okay, thank you, Reg, and we'll keep our fingers crossed and keep plugging away at this, so. Item number 8, any other necessary business? Adam?
Just a couple quick things.
With a smile on his
Yeah.
face.
Just put my chamber hat on first. Would like permission to use the park on Saturday, April 16th for the annual Easter egg hunt for the kids.
By all means.
Okay?
Anybody
So,
want a motion? I don't think we need to.
I don't think we
Just
need
go
to. We
ahead.
agree.
I'll just let Diane know to put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we'll be out there at 7 laying eggs, and by 9 o'clock, the gates open, by 9:05, the park is clean.
Yeah, right. Doesn't take them long.
No, it doesn't. And also on Good Friday, April 15th, the three churches, Nativity, Episcopal, and the Methodist Church will be doing their ecumenical crosswalk through the village. So, all are invited. And
Did you send the PD the email?
oh, yeah,
Okay.
I copied you on the email,
Okay.
so you're all set. And my word for the meeting is Ukraine. Pray for those folks and a quick end of the war.
That's it. Excuse me if I'm repetitious here, but did you announce who your Citizen Business of the Year was at our meeting the other night?
Did not, it was in the paper, but it was Herb Bartamy from TDI Repair.
Yeah.
Yep, the messenger did an awesome job on the article. Kate did a great job on that. He was taken by surprise,
Yeah.
very much. It was a
They're-
well-deserved award for him, and
They're totally community oriented.
they're very community
Anything that's
oriented.
in the park, Herb and his crew are there. That's
Yep.
well deserved, so.
Yep, no, kudos to them, and he had no idea. He had no idea. He was just, it was great. It was
Good
really
job.
great.
Anybody else?
Nothing new.
Nothing new. I'd like to congratulate all the participants in last week's joint meeting with the select board members, the members of the planning commission, the zoning board, and DRB, and both the select board and trustees. I think we accomplished a lot, found out a lot that one board didn't know about that the other had going on, but it was, and hopefully we can have many more of them in the future, so.
There was one question that came out of that about the property on First Street that had the murder, and they were wondering why that there was no press release on it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I did speak to Chief Sullivan today, and it is definitely because that we are not the lead agency. So the state police are the lead agency, and they are not done their investigations, so it would be premature if we made any announcements, and it would hinder the investigation, so. It's, I mean, the reasons behind it, but that's the reason that there's nothing out there in the paper.
That's good.
It won't come from us anyway.
Do I say anything else, Gordon, or?
Good enough, thank you.
So, okay, well,
Thanks for coming.
thanks for
Good
coming.
night.
Take
And
care.
thanks for the updates.
Nice to see an extra hour or so of sunlight.
Yes, really. Okay, anybody else have any more? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss customer accounts, real estate, and personnel.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to go into executive session. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion is carried unanimously. We are in executive session.
Recording stopped.
We're all set to go. Okay, welcome back. We're back in regular session. We had an executive session for discussion. No decisions made on that yet, anyway. And so if there is no other business to be brought before this board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Swanton Village Board of Trustees.
So moved.
And second.
Okay.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn this meeting of the Swanton Village Board of Trustees for Monday, March 14th, 2022. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion is carried. Thank you very much, everyone, and good evening.